we used to do the Mindset Friday pretty frequently, and then we just had a lot of stuff going on and live trading last week. And we have some new material that's getting rolled out. But I thought it was appropriate for this topic, especially from my personal experience and what I just went through. And you guys might have seen the topic in the Discord when I dropped the announcement, is dealing with the losses or losing streaks. And I think that's a topic that everybody's going to relate to. Everybody has losses. Everybody deals with losing streaks. And I think it can be particularly difficult for people, especially when they're new, especially when you're learning a new strategy. Because if you watch the previous topic or previous webinar that we did was kind of on this issue, and we talked a lot about, I'll see if I can find the link because this is one that you probably want to watch too. A lot of them stem together, but this is going to be actually dealing with it. A lot of the other stuff that we talked about was like, I think we talked a lot about it and the missing link between knowing what to do and the results that you want. And as humans, we want to be right. Nobody wants to be wrong. And we judge a lot of our winners and our losers being right or wrong. If we made mistakes and we kind of gauge our progress and how we're doing by those results. If you're on a losing streak, that can be interpreted negatively, like you're not getting it, right? Or it's not making sense, or it's just not clicking, or whatever it might be. So I would definitely watch those, right? We have 3 good ones so far, and this is just going to take it to a different level today. We have the acquiring the casino owner mentality. That plays a big role in dealing with losses. We have the managing your emotions. That's another big one. And then we had that missing link between knowing what to do and then getting the results that you want and what it is that you need to do to bridge that gap so you can start getting those results that you want. And that's the video, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that we talk a lot about that being right or wrong. So today we're just going to take it a little bit deeper because this is something that I just went through. I just had my biggest, not this month. This month's good so far, but leading up to now, I had my biggest loss in Forex. Granted, the percentage wasn't like anything crazy, but the money tied to it was big. And that obviously had some effect on me. You go through losing streaks, you go through losing trades. It's just one of those things that's inevitable. But as the account grows and as the factors change, you might be trading a family member's investment. You might be trading on funded accounts, right? So those losing streaks or those losing trades can start hitting you differently versus if you're on your own money or whatever it might be. So we're going to talk a lot about that today. And I'm going to speak a little bit on my personal experience and this was recent losing streak that I was on that ran us almost $1 million. And again, the percentage wasn't crazy, but that still was, it was stacking up the weight on my back, and I was definitely feeling the pressure. But there's certain things that I do and think about and practice that help me stay focused. So we're going to be talking about that stuff today. Does that all sound good? Darren, what's up, man? I'm doing well, thank you. Annabelle, how you doing? Andy, good morning. Love the mindset trainings. They're probably more important than anything else in developing your trader's mindset. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't do that self-development and all I focused on was the charts. My breakthroughs and my ability to scale and start seeing consistent results was directly correlated to the work that I did on the way I perceived information, the way I reacted to it, and dealing with my emotions through those ups and downs and through the winning streaks and through the losing streaks, because the winning streaks can be just as dangerous as the losing streaks, right? When you get overconfident and then the market humbles you really quickly. So let's dive into it. Just close out a couple things here. I'm glad you said that, as I'm working more on self-development and actually trading right now. It is good to find the balance. It is good to find the balance. Started my FTMO today, up 1,000 pounds. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and it's a good topic because most people I see who get jammed up are the ones that are doing well, right? You're crushing the demo or you're crushing a personal account. And then when you get into FTMO, or if you get into funding talent or some type of prop firm, and now you're on 6 figures or multiple 6 figures, or you're dealing with private investors, a lot of things start affecting you differently than it would if you were trading a demo or if you were trading your own personal account. And more often than not, it's people that I see that are just not really equipped for dealing with losses or losing streaks on those type of situations, and end up digging themselves into a hole that they can't get out of. So it's going to be, because at the end of the day, right, you want to be able to, getting on certain accounts is one thing. The bigger thing, right, is maintaining it and being able to stay on those accounts and continuously see profit over a long period of time, right? Not getting that account and then just losing it a month or two later, right? That doesn't serve us best, right? So this is going to help everyone, because you're not exempt from this stuff, what we're going to be talking about today. All right, so let's dig into it. I do have bullet points here to keep me on track and keep us on track for time as well. And then I can send these out to you guys as well. But for most traders, the hardest part, kind of just what I was just saying, right? The hardest part of Forex trading or any trading for that matter, right? Doesn't matter if it's crypto or stock trading or whatever it is coping with the financial losses. Not necessarily the actual losses themselves, but it's the actual financial element that's linked to it. That's why people see a big transition when they go to that demo account to that live account, because we talk about that in one of those previous videos that I just mentioned. You go from trading to win to trading to not losing money. And you might not realize that, but a lot of people do that especially when you get onto those bigger accounts. You're not really trading. It's like you're trading to win. You obviously want to win and make money, but you switch into a different realm where you're trading not to lose money. That's like a big focus. I could weigh in on this firsthand. Yeah, I mean, you might, hey, if any of you want to come on towards the end of this and share some of your experiences, especially people, Logan's a funded trader. So, there's a lot of value in hearing from everybody else too, who's gone through this and who's been in those funded account situations and dealing with this. So, but it's not simply a matter of, the pain or distress, right? But it's also the fact that losses are usually the catalyst that push traders into making worse mistakes, right? Worse decisions, which can then cause obviously greater loss, producing, you enter this spiral, this vicious spiral where, the traders just spin out of control. Anybody relate to that? And you have to realize that losing trades, losing money is the cost of doing business in this business that we signed up for. They're inevitable. You're going to lose. You're going to have losing streaks. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have bad weeks. You're going to have bad months. Maybe you might have bad quarters, right? In fact, it is usually harder to make money with strategies than attempt to secure a high win rate, right? We all know that a lot of retail strategies are tailored to that. Scalping strategies, especially, it's usually reversed with scalping strategies, risking a lot more to make a lot less. And that's one of the big benefits of trading the way that we trade. But it's one of those things that recording that data, not focusing on results, and being able to start programming yourself to think in probability, because you're not focusing on a win rate. That's not what you're trading for. You're trading for risk to reward. So that's a big thing when we're looking at our strategy and the type of gains that we can potentially get with the risk, right? 5 to 1s. I rarely take a trade that is 5 to 1, right? Minimum 5 to 1, excuse me. And that is just the nature of the way the market moves, right? It's harder to really consistently profit from the market when you're focusing on something that requires you. I don't know many people that trade consistently, trade for a living, and really focus on winning more trades than they lose. It's extremely difficult. Who here has done that in their lifetime? Who has won more trades than they lost and overall profit? Anybody? I'm not. I mean, absolutely not. I have not won more trades than I've won, 100%, but I am profitable. Our minds, right? Our mind view losses as more significant than an equivalent gain, believe it or not. And we don't like to lose what we already have, or we don't like to lose what we already made, right? You have a nice win. You just came up on 5 to 1. Now you just switch into the next trade. It's like, I don't want to lose that. I don't want to give that back. I don't know if anybody can relate to that as well. So when we have losing trades, right, or losing trade, we may try to avoid actually realizing that loss, which means like we're opening ourselves up to even bigger ones. And streaks, 40% win rate on the last FTMO free challenge. And it's good that you brought a number up there, because we're going to talk about that too. That's a big topic that I want to touch on as well. That I'm happy you just brought that up. Let me bring the Q&A section up so I don't. There. All right, so I got the Q&A section up too. Any questions, put them in there, and I'll get to those at the end. And then if anybody wants to come on, I'll bring you guys on as well, and you can talk about any of your personal experiences if you feel up for it. But when we talk about that, we rationalize it by saying that the trade will come back in our favor, or we will give it a little bit more room, expanding that stop loss. Sound familiar? Or say that we were right and the market was wrong, or the timing was off, so we just hold that trade out of spite. Once you have accepted that you will have losing trades and you're going to go through losing streaks or drawdown, as they call it, you have to decide how much you can psychologically tolerate losing without losing your mind, without losing your nerve. And to do this, you have to have an honest conversation with yourself. You might think that you could cope with something like a 50% drawdown in your trading account, when in reality, you find yourself unable to even cope with 25% when it actually happens. Try to visualize it. Try to visualize it happening. Close your eyes and place yourself there. And then another factor off of this is to consider that any drawdown on your account, right, grows bigger. Like, so the amount that you need to win back to get the amount that you started with increases, right? So for example, right, like let's say you go into deep drawdown and you lose 50% of your account. You need to win. Anybody know how much you need to win in order to get that back to the original 100%? I've been demoing gold and found out that my mindset went down the drain and I kept chasing the trade and losing. Don't know if I should drop this currency pair. I don't recommend trading gold or US 30 until you're consistent on Forex pairs, especially if like the timing is not aligned, because most gold trade, it's like real good setups happen, you know, I mean, my primary entries are usually right around 7:30 to 8:30. 100% to gain it back, right? So like if you're losing 50% of your account, you have to make 100% to get back to that original 100%. And then it's a brutal fact that the deeper your losses go, the harder it is to get back to where you started. All these reasons, they stem from not taking a loss when you should, And you can't fear these losses, even with lots of them, right? You can still be profitable. Our strategy, our methods prove this, right? Instead, plan your exits before you're trading. We talked a lot about planning the other day, and I went through the planning of that gold trade that I smashed this week, and stick to it, right? When we see losses accumulate, that's what's going to define you as a trader. When you start seeing losses accumulate, that is what's going to define you as a trader. You agree with that? Because there's a couple of things that are going to happen. It's usually one or two things. It's going to go from bad to worse, or you're going to go from bad to good. Yeah, it brings on a whole other pressure. And that's kind of what I was talking about when you're talking about trading for somebody else's money, or for, you know, a friend or family, private investor, or for FTMO. It's a whole other level of pressure. And I've gone through these different levels of pressure and different variables throughout my journey of scaling, right? Up to like this most recent one when, you know, I think we only were down like at one point, like maybe 12, 13-ish, but it was a serious amount of money. And no matter what no matter what I did, like that was in the back of my mind. That was in the back of my mind. It wasn't that, oh, you know what, it's no big deal. We're down, you know, in the teens, the low teens. I'm thinking about, man, that investor's probably pissed. He's down $1 million. Like, that's all I was thinking about. And I was like, man, that's a big amount that I have to make back, even though, like, what am I thinking about? That's nothing. I can do that, you know, that's not a big percentage. It's not like I'm down 20, 30, 40, 50%. Like, I'm not down a lot of money. Nice going, Timothy. One trade. I mean, it can be one trade, but we're also going to be talking about that as well. You guys are going to relate to a lot of these topics that we're going to be talking about today. For the most part, a high percentage of traders enter. We'll talk about that now. Well, most traders, a high percentage of traders, they're going to enter what they call the lottery syndrome, or you might know it as go big or go home mode, right? Where you're looking for that one trade, right? This involves seeking out big payouts, right? You're trying to smash that big trade that's going to recoup all those losses, but typically with no real plan, or shit or bust, that too, whatever you want to call it. And most times, like, there's no real plan or strategy behind it. Gamble, you're gambling. Gambles are taken. That's what it is. Money is thrown at the market, hoping to hit a big score, but the losses just keep adding up. And the mistake here that's made is related to availability. Does anybody know what I mean by that? The big mistake here is related to the availability. Does anybody know what I mean by that? So what I mean by this is because it is very easy to go back and mark up charts and find setups or big moves in hindsight, which you look at, like if it's a trade that you're marking up or a trade that you pair, or excuse me, a pair that you trade, right? If I'm looking at gold and I'm looking at all these setups that happened during London or coming into the overlap, like whether I missed it or not, and I'm like, man, like look at all these, like that's a 20-1, that's a 15-1, that's a 10-1 that happened in 5 minutes, right? And you're looking at all these in hindsight, which you could have made some nice profit from, right? You could have made some really nice profits. And it makes it appear easy to pick those big winners. And they seem to be everywhere, right? Because you're looking at all these things that have played out that, man, if I saw this or if I grabbed this trade, I would have wiped that out. Trading with the hope of hitting it big on 1 or 2 or 3 trades, right? Thinking you're going to get it all back. And that's the fool's game. And that's how you get into those bigger holes. Does anybody Has anybody done that? Like you're marking up pairs, like you might be down money and you're like, man, look at this. Look at this pair. Look at this setup. If I seen this, that would have been a 15-1 in a matter of hours. Or this one here on gold or US 30, man, that's a 21, 30-1 or whatever. I would have made back my losses plus 10%. I mean, and you start seeing them everywhere, and it's all from hindsight. And you start, and then it's just like they're everywhere. I'm going to go for one. If I smash one of these, I'm good. I'm making back my money. I'm going to get back in cruise control. I'm back in the green. Life is good. And then you just start seeing these accumulate, accumulate, accumulate. It screws with your head big time. Absolutely. And this is where you need to come in and take responsibility. Being wise in hindsight is also false hope. Yep. You're talking reactive and not proactive. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a form of it, 100%. If you have drawdown on your account, or if you've had a losing streak, or maybe a bad day, or maybe a bad week, or maybe a bad month, right? Or suffered like some type of sudden loss, whatever it might be, right? That's different, right? You're still in the game, right? It's just being beaten up a little bit, right? And everybody loves a comeback story, right? Every trader who has been around for a while has one or several. I've had several, right? I'm not immune to losing. I'm not immune to losing streaks, but I know over the long run, with that a casino owner mentality acquired, right? I will be a consistently profitable trader in the long run. My numbers don't lie. It's simple as that, right? And it really, it doesn't matter if it's a surprise news event, right? Red folder news, 8:30 in the morning, right? Cause price to blow past your stop loss, or maybe you had, something with technology, your router went out and you couldn't, get out of a trade, right? Price is slamming down and it's close to your TP, and then it's reacting fast and you just can't get on there, whatever it might be, right? Could be a technology related issue, right? Lose your internet, whatever it might be. There is always an excuse for a losing trade. There's always an excuse for a losing trade. Some of them are actually good excuses, right? But as traders, we ultimately must accept that risk. Until we accept that we are responsible for whatever happens to our orders, to our accounts, history is going to do what? History is going to do what? Yeah, it's going to repeat. Absolutely. History will most likely repeat. And the same thing will happen again and again. And accepting that responsibility and being able to figure out what could have been done differently, right? This is what's going to help you reduce the chance of it occurring again. It is also healthier than bottling up all this hostility, blaming others, blaming other things for your misfortune, right? Blaming things or others is admitting that you don't have control of your trading. Simply put, if you're blaming, you don't have control. If you have control of your trading, then you can fix it. If others control your trading, you can't fix anything. And that's why you have to take responsibility. The solution here is there is a solution. You just need to find it. And the best way to find it is to admit that the loss resulted from not handling it well, and then taking the steps to actually fix it. Fixing the particular issue that caused the loss in the first place, right? That's step one. There's still the issue of confidence, right? What I just went through was hammering on my confidence. Even with the issue fixed, that confidence may be low after taking a big hit. Like my confidence, like I was telling Brooks and Luke after after this week, I was like, I needed this for my sanity. I needed this for my confidence, because I was, it was just like, I don't know if anybody, like you might be, somewhat new to the community, right? Like the losses that I was dealing with, right? They were like really awkward, like situations, like really, really bizarre situations. I shared a lot of the trades that, there was like maybe a week there were trades that were maybe coming like super short. And for some reason, it was a lot of setups. And I normally don't do this, that we set pendings overnight. And then were situations where trades overnight, they would either miss and then run for crazy gains, smash TPs. And then there were situations where we would get triggered in and stopped out. We had like 3 or 4 trades that got stopped out by a matter of pips, by spread, and then ran to TP, like stuff that wouldn't have happened if we were awake and like watching the charts, right? Or hit or got an alert. Like a lot of it was just like some stupid, unlucky situations. And it was just, those accumulated. And it was starting to take a toll on like my sanity. Like I was like, man, I felt like everything I was doing, I just couldn't catch a break, or everything I was doing was just going against me. Right. And it doesn't matter who you are, what you're trading, or how good or whatever you are, like that can take a toll on your confidence. And when your confidence is taking a beating, right, it starts wearing on your execution and the decisions that you're making, right? Because you're carrying a lot of those previous experiences and those previous circumstances with you into that next trade. And then that's where you can start falling into this rabbit hole of start making like, alterations to like a plan that is already cemented. It's already sound. It's something that works for you. And it's recognizing that. And if you are able to recognize it and you just keep trading through it, the numbers will play themselves out. But there's always going to be different variables that are going to be different for all of us. Right? The situation I'm going through, maybe you can relate to if you're on a funded account or if you've been through private investors or whatever it is, right? You have that pressure. Like one of the things that I would always think about when I was newly funded accounts was, what is that other, because I was always doing private investors. I've had many private investors. The one thing that I was always thinking about is like, what are they thinking? Right? Knowing that they're watching. Like I had one guy who like I had to cut ties with him because he was glued to his phone. Like I think he had like the MT4 alerts set up on his phone, like the text. I don't know if you know that you can do that. So when your trade triggers or whatever happens, like you get text. And I felt like anytime I was entering something or whatever, like a trade was finished, like I was getting messages. Like, so I knew he was watching. I knew he was like really on me, like white on rice. And I was just like, man, like this guy's breathing down my neck. And I was always thinking about what these people are thinking and knowing that I have all these eyes on me. And it was just like, man, like, let me just do my thing. And like, that stuff was playing on me for sure. And all these different things can affect your results for sure. I don't like that, mate. It's horrible. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. So like when I got the chance to like consolidate everything and just deal with one person who was like a friend of mine and also a trader, it was just like, the stars kind of aligned. But it brought on its own challenges, new variables, right? Yeah, I mean, he probably is. I ended that relationship up 33%, like after 2.5 months. It was like right away. It was just, and he wanted like play by play. Like he would always have questions, and he thought since he was since he was an investor, like he had like, the 911 like direct line, like if I have something or can you check out this chart, and it was just like more of a headache than what it was worth. But those were like early days of getting into it. Yeah, for sure. But when we're talking about the confidence stuff, right? Now it's just about realigning your focus. It's important to place yourself in a good environment. Absolutely. 100%. But like my situation early on was like, I'll take what I can get right now. You know what I mean? Like they weren't ideal investors or like people, you know what I mean? Like it was very early on in my journey, like very early on. But what I just went through and what I've gone through in the past and what you're inevitably going to go through as well, right, is being able to realign your focus. So when you started, most people, you're probably overconfident, but then you had the markets put you in your place. You developed healthy confidence over time by building your trading system, by testing and practicing, collecting data, doing all that back testing at the end of the week or at the end of the month or whatever it is. And then ultimately, like, utilizing all of those things for successful real money trading. And then confidence is created by doing those difficult tasks and getting better at those tasks, doing things that are uncomfortable. And when you started, you were most likely overconfident. That's most people. Like when I was starting, quick little story, when I first started like getting consistent and I saw like really good results, I almost thought like I was on some type of heater. I almost thought like everything I was doing, like nothing was wrong. Like I couldn't lose a trade. And if I lost one, I'd get it back like 5 times on the next one. It was just like, I almost felt like invincible. I almost thought like there was times where I was literally thinking like, when's this going to end? It was like a really surreal feeling. I'll never forget it. It was like the first time I was actually like really crushing things. Everything was aligned. My confidence was in line. I was seeing the market super clear and I was executing flawlessly. And I was just like overconfident, super overconfident. And, you know, market humbled me real quick. I don't see too many people that come into this space and they're super overconfident, right? And not yet humbled one way or another. Yeah, get ready for a smack in the face. Absolutely. The big thing is going back to the basics, right? Going back to like what is working, focus on your plan with any of those adjustments that you're making, right? And the implementation of it. Those are some of the big things. Right? Shifting your focus, shifting your mindset, right? Realigning everything, getting super focused, right? And just back testing. And sometimes it's just, you need a kick in the ass. And remember why you got into this in the first place. The other major topic really, and we talked a lot about this in a previous training, and we're going to touch on it today, probably just a little bit different. Is knowing where it's doing. Like I talked about in the missing link, knowing what to do and getting the actual results. If you haven't seen this, I would really recommend it, because what we really do is we often convince ourselves that if we know something, we could do it if we wanted. Right? I always use the example of losing weight or going to the gym, right? So take like losing weight as the example. Most people that are improving their health, like trying to eat better and like their diet and trying to exercise more, like will help them lose weight. Yet, rather than follow this, many people try to seek out more information instead, trying to find that new latest trend or that new fad, right? And seeking information, and I don't know how many people might relate to this, seeking information is often just a rationalization for not doing the work that needs to be done to get the results that you want. It feels productive though. It feels productive, but it's not. And that's why we need to follow simple guidelines in order to be a successful trader. That's why we have plans. A lot of people know this, right? The trading plans, the SWOT analysis, the confirmation checklist, the back testing. A lot of people know this, right? They hear it, they see it, they know it, but have you done it? Have you done it? Have you done all those things? I'm talking to you. Have you done all those things? You know the things that you need to do. You know the 3 phases that you're going to go through. You know a pretty solid plan to get into the next phase. You know all the things that you need to do, the mindset development, the certain things that you need to really adapt in terms of your emotions, right? Where the market biofeedback helps, the trade plan, altering that trade plan as you progress through the different phases, the back testing, the collection of data, right? All of these different things, you know this. You've heard me say this. If you've been in this community for any amount of time, you've heard me talk about these things, but have you done it? Have you done all of these things? Be honest with yourself. Have you done these things? And if you haven't, then you can't be wondering why your results are not where you want them to be. I'm down 45 pounds since January. That dedication and persistence shows me I'm capable of discipline. Now to just apply that here. Yeah. I mean, first off, that's awesome. But it's everything, right? Like that's how I used to really think. Like, man, if I'm trying to be a trader that requires patience, requires laser focus, which requires insane discipline, but I can't make my bed in the morning. I can't go to the gym 4 days a week. I can't quit smoking. I can't stop drinking alcohol, whatever it might be. I don't have the discipline to do those things, to have a better quality of life. How am I going to be a disciplined trader? How am I going to have patience on these charts if I'm not patient with my daughter or patience with anything? How are you going to be going to the dog tracks every weekend or betting on the ponies or betting on the football games and having some type of gambling issue, but you think you can come into trading and not be a gambler? Come on. Come on. We should all do the 75 hard. Anybody hear of it before? I was thinking about it today. I know Mia is doing it. But yeah, it's awesome for discipline. I've when I think Joe was the one that told me about it. And then I saw a video on TikTok about it this morning. And I was like, man, if I'm disciplined, I should do that. I should be able to do that, like a test almost. It's 2 sessions of working out every day, one inside, one outside. You got to read at least 10 pages. And I might be wrong on this, the actual details. You got to drink a gallon of water a day, I believe. You got to read at least 10 pages of, mindset or self-development, whatever it is. You got to take a progress picture. Like, that's not hard stuff. Like, that's like stuff that you should be working on your health. You should be drinking water. You should be reading every day, right? Like, I mean, like, that shouldn't sound like a chore. And for me, like, it used to sound like a chore. That's why I'm really contemplating doing it. Right? If I can't have the discipline to do those things, and I think I'm disciplined. Are you going through it now, Mia? Or did you finish it? Because I think if you mess up or you skip something, you have to start over. Day 51, let's go. That's sick. That's awesome. You're almost there. You're like 3/4 there. Or 2/4 there, sorry. That's awesome. That's awesome. You probably feel awesome. You feel really good. It's a huge accomplishment. Huge accomplishment. And that's not by coincidence that Mia is probably going to be one of the best traders that I know. She's already well on her way. Hands down. I do. Not done yet. You'll do it. You'll do it. 100%. I believe in you. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. You've motivated me to do it. Track it daily. It's helped me. Mia encouraged me to do it. 40 push-ups when I have a break in discipline. Yeah, it's called 40. It's 75 hard. I think there's a book about it maybe. Like, you can just Google it, 75 hard. And it's like certain things that you have to do every single day. And if you don't do it, you have to start over. You have to, like, if Mia were to mess up on day 51, she has to go back to day 1 and do the 75 days over again. And it's just working out twice a day, 45 minutes, one inside, one outside, drinking a gallon of water, reading 10 pages in a book. I think that's it, right? And then tracking your results, taking a picture of your progress. Am I missing anything? Let's do it. Gallon of water and diet portion. Like, I'm already doing most of it. It'd be the working out outside that'd probably get me, because I got my gym on the other side of this office. No alcohol, I'm already there because I haven't touched alcohol in years. No alcohol, but that's the other one. Or cheat meals, yep. Yeah, so like the cheat meals, that'd be a good one. We should all do it. You want to talk about feeling good, looking good, mental clarity, and self-confidence, man, and discipline, and seeing results over time and not instant gratification, man, there's a lot to learn from that. I'm down 50 pounds since Thanksgiving. Let's go. I don't even own a scale. I should probably get one. But that's awesome. And you know what? I think I'm really going to do it. I asked Katie the first time, and I was probably using that as a crutch to get out of it. And I was like, will you do this with me? And I think she said no. So I was like, all right, no, screw it. I'm not going to do it either. I think I'm going to do it. Let's create a Discord room for it. Hey, that might be something we do. Because like there was a time that I wasn't doing all of those things. Like, I mean, think of like what that will do for you. Not just like you as like, you know, like what you'll physically do for you in like your brain, but think of how that will interpret on the charts. Think of like what your trading will look like if you're doing those things. You'll be a machine. You'll be a machine. Mia's already a machine. She's gonna be a beast trader. She's already a killer trader. Sometimes you just meet people and you just know. Mia was one of those people. Mia has matched my consistency for a long time now. Like day one, when she linked up with me, I think I saw her name in the list of participants on almost every single Zoom. And if she couldn't like see it live, which was rare, she would just she would be on that recording. I always tell that to people, match my consistency. But I think you're onto something, Trey. I think it was Trey that said that. I think we might need to open up a Discord for people that want to do it, and we can hold each other accountable. I would love to do that, but let's wrap up this. We got a little bit more to talk about. I just told Aaron that I won't allow myself to trade unless the morning routine is exactly as planned every day. There's your discipline too. When are you going to do you want me to count to 10 in Japanese? Is that what you're asking me? You guys thought I was lying about that? Ich ni sanchi koruk si chach kuju. There you go. But that's all I know. So let's just wrap this up. We got a little bit more and we're at the top of the hour and it's a Friday and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So let's just wrap this up. So we were talking about like that example that led into this about like working out and whatnot, right? Seeking the information, right? Seeking information is often just a rationalization for not doing the work, right? Like the knowing, what to do and actually doing it, right? And it feels like you're being productive, seeking a lot of information. And it's just a version of a shiny object, like somebody mentioned, right? But that's why we follow simple guidelines in order to be successful traders, right? A lot of people know this stuff, but are you actually doing it, right? This includes a trade plan, focusing on one strategy, not having that shiny object bouncing around because somebody's killing it over there and you might be on a losing streak. I used to do that all the time. Not deviating from your trade plan so you can see what works and what doesn't work. Trading in a demo account until your plan that you've been building proves consistently profitable over many trades, over a large sample size. People read or hear like all these different things and they come, I think, like desensitized to these ideas, right? They mistake or rationalize knowing a concept, knowing certain things that they need to do, right? And actually following through and doing it. Instead of following these core concepts that I just outlined, right? They go on to another informational binge. I used to do this because I was like one that needed to know all the details. Like I needed to go, I went down so many rabbit holes and it felt like I was doing a lot and it took a lot of time. So I felt like I was being productive, but I was just clouding my mind. I was just clouding my mind. More information too is just useless. Kind of circling back, right? It doesn't matter how much information, more information or not, it's all useless if you don't apply it. And eventually you just need to stop searching and start applying what you know. Like the answers are here. The answers are here. That's why I asked all those things. You know these things. If you've heard me, if you've been on these sessions, if you watched any recordings, if you've been in the Discord for, at least 30 days, you know these things. But are you skipping over them? Are you doing some of them? Are you doing none of them? And then ask yourself if your results reflect that. If your results are not where you want them to be, or you're just kind of going through it, ask yourself, is that a reflection of the things that I know that I need to do and not doing them? Because I promise if you're doing them all, you're going to see that different reflection in your results. 100%. When you take certain measures and you can have the confidence to risk money on trades within the parameters that you've defined in your trade plan, you will know roughly what percentage of trades tend to lose, how long the streaks tend to be, and most importantly, that it eventually tends to come to an end. And you usually come out ahead, especially like once you're a consistently profitable trader. Like Logan can probably speak about this, like seeing consistent results and knowing that, the numbers are ultimately going to play out, right? And at this stage, you have to accept that losing trades are natural. They're inevitable. They are just a necessary sacrifice that you must make to the market in order to make money. That is the cost of doing business and trading. And your conscious efforts are going to be undermined. They're going to be undermined by strong emotional subconscious forces. You need to focus on your actions and the results, knowing what to do and how to get the results that you want. The difference between knowing and doing. And these don't lie. These don't lie. Your actions and your results don't lie. Your mind can lie. And to avoid the availability bias that we talked about, the challenge common knowledge and make sure that you're using large sample sizes, right? Loss aversion is lessened by practice and seeing with your own eyes that even with lots of losing trades, lots of money being in drawdown, you can still be a profitable trader, especially when you have a strategy that produces the risk to reward that we have with what we use. The lottery syndrome is counteracted by evidence and asking yourself how the hunt for a big winner is really going. How is that really serving you? You trying to be down and looking for that one big monster of a trade that's going to take you out of drawdown and put you into positive. How's that going for you? How's that working out for you? And finally, just knowing that you should or shouldn't do something isn't enough. Like, you need to actually put it into practice. Do these things that we talk about. Don't just know the things that you need to do or think that, like, you know, I understand certain things, so I just feel like I don't need to do it, right? There's different versions of this. Just do it. Here's what you need to do. Just do it. Knowing versus doing. Just it's there. It's just there. And it's having the discipline to actually follow through, having the why behind you to power you through it, and just handle business and get it done. That's why and you know, to kind of wrap it up, like, a lot of these things that we talk about and a lot of the other mindset videos, right? And the reason why, like, I'm really big on you in early stages collecting a lot of data and back testing that data, making changes that you can then implement on that next batch, right? That next trading block in that new month, right? To help you transition through these different phases without focusing on results. You're going to start seeing those real important statistics, like somebody mentioned, like how many, like the average percent of winning trades or losing trades on an average month for you, but you're still pulling profit. It can help you gauge and keep you on track. And it's going to train you to think in probability and not be focused on losing trades or winning trades, right? That's not what you're trading for. You're trading for risk to reward. Like, all of these things that we talk about with the mindset training and the different steps that you need to go through to transition through all these phases, and the market biofeedback for managing your emotions, right? All of these things are an accumulation of things that are going to help you get to where you want to go as a trader and as an individual. It's just a matter of knowing what to do and actually doing. That's some powerful truths here again, man. That's why I love your teachings. Appreciate it. I've definitely found the right place to be. Everything I needed to hear. Thank you. You're welcome. And I'm glad. I'm glad that resonated with you. Like, you know, the biggest thing is, like, we're all going to deal with losses, and I mean, it's all, you know, it's just how we prep for them, and it's how we train ourselves to view certain results. And, you know, it's one of those, it's a skill. It's a skill that you need to acquire. That's why I'm telling you, like, this video and those other ones might even be better on the actual topic of dealing with losses, or actually probably not. Those are probably preparation for things that you need to do to really switch that, you know, switch your perspective on results. The casino owner mentality video, that's going to be a game changer for you. Watch it again if you need to. The missing link between, and these are all in the mindset tab, and I think they're in the trading model as well. The three there, the acquiring the casino, there's other ones up top, but the three at the bottom: acquiring the casino owner mentality from 320, managing emotions and developing your trader's mindset, and then the missing link between knowing what to do and getting the results that you want, what it is, and how to bridge that gap. Those are powerful videos that are kind of a continuation or an extension of what we're talking about today. They all go hand in hand like this. We actually made decent time today. But I just felt like this was appropriate just because, I mean, I was just dealing with it. You know, you're not going to be immune to losing trades or losing streaks. It's just being able to pull yourself out of it. And it took me, man, almost 2 months. Almost 2 months. I mean, we got 2 weeks left in this month, but man, it feels good. It feels good. But the thing is too, like the big thing that I knew was one, like this isn't my first time dealing with this. Two, my numbers have proven, like my numbers and my trade plan and my confirmations have proven successful. So I didn't need to change anything. I just needed to stay focused and not worrying about certain things that I didn't need to be worrying about, and that everything would just fall in place and the numbers will, if I just follow my plan and execute it and not let stupid variables come in and affect my decision making. Like, man, if I, worrying about adding more to that big percentage, right? And not worrying about losing more and adding more money to it, and just follow what I need to do, the numbers will all align and it ended up working in my favor. Like it has in the past, like it will in the future for my next losing streak, whenever that might be. Does anybody have any questions, or does anybody want to hop on? I know Logan's on here, no pressure, but does anybody want to hop on, like any of the funded traders who have gone through this, being on like a newly funded account? If it's perfectly fine. I mean, we're at the top of the hour now, a little past. I think we've been going for about an hour right now. Yeah, I mean, people think like, you're trading big accounts and you've been doing this for a long time, like that, that like things don't apply. Like it applies to all traders. You want to hop on, Logan? Okay. Give me 1 second. All right, so we're bringing Logan on. Logan's been with me for a while, and he's just another example like Mia who's done the work and has seen the results from it. And he's, he's a six-figure trader now. Let me bring you on, promote the panelist. There we go. What's up, man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. How's it going?
Oh, my microphone or my camera is not on. There we go. All right. Hey, what's going on? I got two screens going on over here.
Thanks for hopping on, man. I was kind of hoping you would.
I've been debating like getting more involved over these past few weeks. It's like I've been off and on. Like I know I should, but I'm just sitting in the background, which that's just kind of my personality. I'm kind of a quiet individual.
It's cool, man. Just doing you. But I mean, your experience, I mean, it's valuable, man. It's absolutely valuable. And I think I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about it a little bit. We talked about it a little bit, but I don't know if you want to share some of the stuff that you just went through or your experiences with what we talked about.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like as you were talking about all this stuff, it was almost like you had you bugged my house or something, and you're sitting there watching me go through everything that you talked about this week. The first thing that came to mind was when you started talking about the weight loss, and that was something I started doing. Was I hired a trainer back in February for the gym that I go to, because I wanted to start losing weight, and I just did my BMI yesterday, and I started at like 22% or something like that. And in April, I injured my hand and I couldn't work out anymore. And I did the BMI then, and I jumped up to 23%. But I did my BMI yesterday, and now I'm down to 21.4, I believe. So I'm making progress. And, at one point I started trying to look for information, just like you were talking about.
Right.
And that's the rabbit hole, is that people will tend to devour themselves in information thinking they're going to find the answer inside of it. But what you were talking about is practice makes perfect almost. You're never going to make any progress if you don't actually apply the things that you're trying to learn, because it doesn't do you any good to just sit on the information. They say knowledge is power, but application is the other half of that battle.
Right.
And yeah, as far as the trading thing goes, like, man, it's almost embarrassing how bad I have done these past few weeks. So yeah, you're gonna get humbled. Like, first and foremost, I was extremely humbled these past few months, month and a half, a week or so. And I guess just to start it off, I think the catalyst for what it really was the fact that I lost sight of the casino owner's mentality, the numbers game, and how it plays out in your favor. And I have it on my trading journal, like it's pulled up right here. From, what was it, December to March, I was all demo trading. All right, I didn't really go live until I think it was April. April is when I finally passed the challenge phase for the FTMO. But I was averaging 40% a month. So it was 48 in December, 35 in January, 40 in February, 54 in March. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then April was my worst month ever. I started the month up like 20% and I ended negative like 10 or 15 or something like that. And the reason why is because I started trading live. And the worst part about it is, it's that loss, the fear of loss. And that's kind of one of the breakthroughs that I had this week as I was, having my come to moments. Like when I was talking about how you had that camera almost, I was on my way to the gym and I was just thinking to myself, like, what the hell am I doing wrong? And it clicked for me. And I was like, my fear of loss is so great that it is preventing me from making gains, like in any area of my life. I saw it in my weight loss. I actually gained weight since I started the training. So I started at 204 or something like that. I'm 211 now, but less body mass. So I've gained, a lot of muscle, but I still lost fat. But I didn't see that until the trainer explained it to me yesterday. I was like, oh, I am actually making progress, because I saw that as a loss. Gaining weight, people don't like that. Well, the same thing happened with all these trades. I was winning, and then I started trading live, and that's when your emotions really kick in. Yeah, I tell you, that's the humbling part right there. And because my fear of loss was so great, I was taking trades left and right to try and make up the losses that I had incurred just from a simple trading plan. Like, my trading plan works. The numbers prove it to me the last 4 months. All right, I was averaging 40%. But because I lost a simple 2%, I was sitting there trying to, place trades that didn't make any sense. Like, I was trying to catch US Opens. I was trying to catch news events. Like, I was just throwing left and right trades out there. I was losing them all. So the week before they did the mastery course, I forget when that was. That was the worst week that I've had ever. And why I say that is because I was perfectly aligned to be max funded FTMO trader as of this month. I had passed one 100 challenge. I had passed the second 100 challenge, and I was in the verification phase for a 200K account, which is the second part of the test. Well, what ended up happening is I actually lost one of those 100 accounts. So now I'm only down to 100. I blew it. They took it away from me. And I failed the verification phase of that 200K account. So I should be at 400 right now. But instead, I blew away 300,000 in funding. And now all I have left is this one 100K account. Like if that's not demoralizing, I don't know what is. But and the other thing is you can't just sit there and mope around either. Like I saw that and was like, damn, this sucks. This really sucks. But I took the weekend and just did a little bit of reflecting, and I immediately signed back up. That Monday, I bought another 200K course. Why? Because I knew I could do it. And I'm in that right now. So I passed the first phase and I'm in the verification phase right now for the second, for the 200K account. But I almost failed this week because I fell back into another loophole of revenge trading. And it didn't dawn on me till like a few days ago when I was super close. So you're only allowed to lose 10%. I dropped all the way down to negative 9%. And then I was like, Jesus, why do I keep doing this? I have to come to my senses. And, I broke it down. I had 1% to play with. So I broke that down into 10 trades. All right. So I was like, these are my 10 trades. If I lose all these trades and stick to the plan and I lose, I'll be happy with it because I stuck to the plan. So now I'm having to literally crawl my way back to get to the point where I can, take 1% trades just to hopefully get to the 5% profit target that you actually need. So luckily, I wouldn't even say luckily, it's, simple, just sticking to the plan because the plan works. There was a few trades that I took this week that stuck to the plan and they actually brought me back up a few percentage points. So now I have a lot more wiggle room to help crawl my way back to the profitable range, where I can actually get to where I need to be. And yeah, that's my story these past few months. I don't even know what to say after all that. I'm sure I know Danny's, but you've probably been through all that stuff because you talked about it today.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the transitions, man. Like I kind of think of it like there's landmines everywhere, and it's almost like the equivalent of like joining the military, and you go through like those months and months of like training and whatnot, and then like thinking you're ready to go out there, and then you get and put into like a real war zone, and it's actual bullets being fired at you, and there's actual like bombs everywhere. You know what I mean? It's like that's a big transition. It's like the same when you're going from a demo account and you have all the training, and then when you get thrown into a real life situation, it's like you kind of rattle, and you got to go through that transition. And it's just doing what you did, like kind of thinking about, okay, what I do that got me to this point works, and I just need to get back to my roots and take the experience that I just went through and learn from it and implement it moving forward. So they're not losses, man. You didn't lose those accounts. Those are just lessons. They might have been expensive and costly lessons, but that's all it is. You're a very capable trader. You're like somebody that reminds me like me, like you just did the work, man, and you got to where you are from that hard work. And it's just, there's transitions. I went through transitions with live accounts from like, trading small accounts to like, smaller 5-figure accounts. And then when I went up to 6-figure, I went through that transition again. And then when I got up to these accounts that I'm on now, it was another transition, and things start hitting you differently,
Yeah, I was thinking that exact same thing too when you were talking about it. Like, it's almost a good thing that happened to me, because if I had actually passed everything and they gave me the full 400, like I couldn't deal with losses on a 200K and 100K account. Imagine trying to deal with losses on a 400K account.
Right.
I mean, 1% is $4,000. 2% is $8,000.
Right.
So
that's exactly right, dude. I mean, it's like those things, like being humbled in the market and having those things that you're going through and that I went through. It's stuff that like needs to happen, and a lot of it is
right.
not preventable. It's just like things like that are just gonna make you the trader that you are. And like that's why I said earlier on in this training, like these are the things that are going to define you as a trader. It's one or two things that are going to happen. You're either going to go from bad to worse, or you're going to take it and look at this as lessons to be learned and apply that implement into your plan or whatever it might be, and progress forward. It's like the markets, man. Like they just don't go up, 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 up. They have waves, and you come up and then you come back down, and it's just a pullback before that next expansion, and you're just going in a pullback right now. That's
Yeah,
all it is.
that's it's kind of I don't know if anybody's ever seen the I don't know what the name of it is, but it's like the self-development chart or the entrepreneur chart or something like that. It's like the waves of the market. It goes up and you're going to reach your high point, but then you come down. But the lower point is always higher than the previous low point almost. So it's a continuously going up, looking graph. That's the way it is for us as well.
For sure. For sure.
You're going to have to see that.
There's a couple questions for you. Somebody asked, when did you start trading?
So I first joined Danny and them in April of last year. Right? That was back when they were with the old group. I followed them up until the split, and now we're here. So it's probably been like a year and a month and a half, something like that.
And then somebody asked how long you've been funded, but I think you said you got funded in April, right?
Yep.
It's
about a month.
Another one. A lot of people are pumped that you came on here. I'm not sure if you're seeing the chat, but a lot of people are saying this is gold. Great to hear it. Super relatable. Awesome story. Yeah, man. See what I mean? Like the chat's kind of going wild. I can't even keep up with it. So a lot of people, this is real stuff, man. And people like to hear this stuff,
Thank you guys. I was lost in the sauce. I was sitting there rambling.
No, man, that was good stuff, man. Like it was really good stuff, dude. But I appreciate you hopping on and sharing some of your story there and what you're going through.
Yeah, and stories are the good learning points for everybody. Like I think last week I posted something in the results challenge, and this is just a continuation of that, really trying to fight your way through it.
For sure. Cool, man. Well, a lot of people are showing you some love right now in the chat, and I appreciate you hopping on. But I think on that note, we've been on it for a while. We went over some good stuff today, and again, thanks for coming on here, man. That's awesome. Good way to end this call and good way to end the week.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, man. Anytime, man. Anytime you want to hop on, you're more than welcome. And we'll probably just end it there, chat. Hope you guys all use this time too. We're going to the weekend. Backtest this week. Collect that data. Continue collecting that data. And this is the time that you just do what we do, right? Learn from our mistakes and then move forward. So we'll just wrap this up here. I'll get this recording. You said you would talk about percentage growth. I don't remember what I said. I think I was talking about in terms of percentage wise, like once you're collecting data, like if you look at the percentages that he said, right? He knows his average percentage for a monthly basis. He knows out of that percentage for that, right? To get that, he knows what his percentage is for winning trades and his percentage is for losing trades. So like, it's just knowing the numbers, like collecting that data. And like when I back tested Andy's data and I went through and I saw how many trades he was averaging on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, how many pairs, what his average entry time frame was, how many trades, like, out of like 10 trades, like what his normal win rate was, or out of the 30 sample, right? Like there's just a lot of percentages that knowing those numbers can help you when things aren't going your way result wise. So that's kind of what I meant when I talked about that. But if there's no other questions, I don't see any in the Q&A section. We can just wrap that up here. And I'll get this recording up as soon as possible because I know a lot of people couldn't make it on here today for the actual live. But hope you guys got value from this. Hope you got value from Logan, his experience, because I know there's a lot of people in the community that are newly funded and just realize like that you're gonna go through that transition. That transition, especially if it's from demo directly to live, like him, and on that live being a funded account, there's a transition that's going to happen. It's just you have to be prepared for that as well.
Yep, so 100%.
So yeah, thanks for hopping on. Hope you guys all have a great weekend as well. Looks like a lot of people are just super happy that you came on. They're all saying thanks, man. So
thanks guys for all the love and support.
So cool. We'll end it there, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. And next week, I believe we are doing the challenge as well. I think it's on the 17th. So I'm excited for that as well, and hope you guys take part in that again. If you didn't on the first one, or if you did, hop on that one as well. So see you guys all next week. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again, man.
Yep. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you.